Welcome to our monthly webinar. My name is Leslie Balser, and I'm a Customer Enablement and Adoption Specialist here at Litera Microsystems. Today's topic revolves around DocXtools Companion and its untapped potential to empower lawyers and support staff. The objective is to create higher quality documents in less time with little to no training. Presenting on DocXtools Companion today is Mike Plum, who's the Manager of Customer Enablement and Adoption. Mike has more than 15 years of experience in legal technology with a background in technical writing, training, and project management, and has a strong understanding of the issues that can occur when creating complex documents in Microsoft Word. He also leads our customer enablement initiatives here at Litera Microsystems, which include our webinars, training, recordings, as well as adoption resources. We always love your feedback and welcome it on our various webinar topics. Let us know how we did or if you thought this topic was relevant. We'll provide a short survey at the end to get your thoughts. If you have any questions during the session, go ahead and enter them in the questions window and we'll answer as many as we can during the Q&A. If you missed a previous session, all of our past webinars are on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and type Litera Microsystems. Also, our most recent webinars that fall under our new Litera Learning umbrella are available at litera.com under the resources menu. And with that, I'll pass you over to Mike to begin the webinar.
All right, thank you, Leslie. Welcome everyone to our monthly webinar. This time I'm back in the driver's seat after taking a back seat the last few times and getting other people to do these for me. So if you've been with us for the last few years, you know we've kind of talked about this a while ago. I look back and it was actually, I think, in 2016 was the last time we talked about DocXtools Companion, and we hadn't even had any of the conversion tools in there, but just really wanted to come back and talk about this product because we really do feel it's untapped. A lot of people have access to it and they're not using it. So we just want to talk about the power of this product. So before we get into the details though of DocXtools Companion, let's take a little step back and look at the document life cycle to understand where and how this product fits in. So you know that many of the Litera Microsystems solutions focus on the drafting to execution portion of the workflow. Our products allow lawyers and support staff to create higher quality documents in less time because we know that they're not starting these documents from scratch. They're using a model document example and working from there. So how do we help? So the drafting and document production process is filled with inefficiencies and risk. Our products will help improve the productivity and help mitigate risk. As we said, lawyers are often not creating a new document every time. They're copying and pasting an existing work product, and that can add formatting and numbering issues, as well as issues with cross-references and with tables of contents. So here's a bunch of products that we have. Many of you are familiar with these. Many of you have a lot of them that focus on that drafting to execution process. But today we're going to just focus on DocXtools Companion. And DocXtools Companion was built as a tool to quickly help lawyers, and it requires little training, and it offers the ability to just use it right out of the box. Unlike some of our other products where you might have to engage with solutions engineering to configure the product, or you might need some extensive training to learn how to use it, this is really supposed to be kind of intuitive and work right after you install it. So speaking of installation, it truly is a separate installation from DocXtools. So it's called DocXtools Companion, but it's a separate product. So it's a separate MSI file. It has to be pushed out to your machine separately. You have some options. You can put it on your home tab as the first or last group, or what many people are doing, and we're starting to talk about something called the Litera desktop, they put it on the Litera tab so that all of the tools that you have from our suite of tools are in one place, so you don't have to go look for them. So again, it's designed to improve some of those common issues faced in documents, issues around numbering, issues around cross-references, issues around table of contents. And again, a lot of those issues are introduced when we do copying and pasting or grabbing existing work product and bringing it over. Again, it's going to save time, requires no training. So it's especially beneficial to those lawyers that don't have time either to go to training, which we know is really hard to get them to training, or if they have to escalate something to word processing, they have to wait then. So this helps them be a little more self-sufficient. A key thing in the DocXtools Companion product that's not in our DocXtools product that many of you know is the undo feature. So undo allows you to undo what you've done. So if you run numbering or references or table of contents or any of the other tools within DocXtools Companion, if you're not happy with the result, you can undo it. Unlike DocXtools, which would require you to just close without saving. And it's definitely an end-to-end solution. So it can be used by a wide range of users. It's definitely geared towards lawyers, but this can be extremely beneficial to experts as well. We're not saying that it replaces DocXtools. For some of the more difficult things or styling or things of that nature, you're still going to need DocXtools. But for when you need to quickly get a document out or address a specific issue that this handles, this is really kind of the key thing to use. So one easy solution, so numbering. So it's going to address some of the types of numbering issues we run into, issues with indents, with restarts. If you have a mix of automated numbering and type numbering, it's going to make everything automated for you, so that when you continue to work on it and modify the document, it's going to continue to renumber for you. It's not going to mess up your numbering, etc. Cross-references. So again, this is a very common issue where you get broken cross-references when you're copying and pasting from another document. You're copying a paragraph that has a cross-reference in it, and then you bring it over to a paragraph that's referencing a section, a document that's referencing a section that doesn't exist. Or you delete a section in the current document, and that reference is broken. Or people, when they're authoring, maybe they're just typing manual cross-references. And we're going to find those source not found for you as well. And then table of contents. So everyone needs a table of contents. If it's broken, if it's incomplete, we know native Word doesn't create legal type table of contents. It's going to bring in the entire paragraph versus that first sentence. So we're going to help with that process as well. And again, make it as simple as possible for your lawyers. So these were some tools that the last time we did the webinar, if any of our loyal fans out there saw the existing one, we didn't talk about this specific because it wasn't part of the product then. We have talked about it in subsequent webinars, but we never talked about all the functionality together in one spot. So the conversion cleanup capabilities. So this is addressing issues where you're working from a scanned document or you're copying from a PDF, and you introduce all those crazy things that happen with scanned documents, things like floating drawings, flex on the scanner that become drawings, reflow issues, spacing issues, header information that gets brought into the body of the document, misinterpreting numbers for letters and letters for numbers, all those kind of things that can make your document really a bear to work with. We have a conversion cleanup tool that's going to go through and address a majority of these things. And again, it's the click of a button to address these. So from a lawyer to an expert, it's going to be very beneficial. And then there's some of those additional functionalities where it's things around consistency. So let's make sure the document's consistent from a font point of view, size or type, consistent from a spacing point of view, and then some other cleanups and swap outs of curlies to straight quotes that could be beneficial when you're working late at night or in a pinch. Again, Control Z or undo will also affect these as well. So some of the benefits. So Companion is not designed to replace DocXtools. It truly is a separate piece. But there are a couple things that it does that DocXtools doesn't do, but there's many things that DocXtools does that Companion doesn't. We're trying to find those sweet spots, especially for attorneys working late at night to get stuff done quickly. Word processors can also use this though and save time. But you're still going to leverage those advanced features of DocXtools, reference style application, comparison, things of that nature. There's still features in there that you're going to want to use. So I'm going to go into my infomercial here now. So we're late at night and we're watching this infomercial on DocXtools Companion. What would you expect to pay for something like this for DocXtools? With a product like this and the power and the ease, what would you expect? You expect to spend a lot of money, right, on this product. But if you already have DocXtools, guess what, people? It's free, right? It costs nothing. So this is where we're getting to the untapped part of this. We're seeing out there many of our DocXtools customers that have DocXtools deployed do not have DocXtools Companion deployed. It's a free product. It does a ton of cool things. It can really engage your lawyers and allow them to be more self-sufficient. And It's a product that's free and we should be using it. So with that, let's jump into a demo of the product. Okay, so the first document we're going to jump into is this master debt restructuring agreement. I have the navigation pane open because it's going to give me a good look of the numbering and the headings that I have set up. And you can see right off the bat that I have some numbering issues just looking at that. So you can see I have no Article 1, I have 2 Article 3s, and then I have this kind of funky Article 4. It should be IV normally, but it's I. If I extend that and I jump into a section, you can see in the Article 4, quote unquote, we have Section 3.1. So there's some issues there with the numbering as well. If I scroll up to the top of the document, so I'm just going to page up here because my GoToMeeting's in the way. And let's say I wanted to add some more information around my recital section here. So in my recital section, I'm going to add another GG capital entry here. But you can see as I added that, the numbering's broken there too. So now numbering didn't repeat there. So you can see there's quite a few issues here from a numbering point of view that if I was an attorney working late at night to fix these numbering issues, more than likely, if I didn't know what I was doing, I would have to escalate this. If I didn't have 24-hour support, I'd have to wait till the next day potentially, etc. So I want to work on these now and address these issues. So what I can do is I'm going to go to my Litera tab where I have DocXtools Companion installed. You can see I have numbering, cross-reference, table of contents on my cleanups, and I'm going to go ahead and just click on the numbers button. So when I click on the numbers button, you can see it's going to start doing some analysis, and it's truly going to go through the whole entire document and look at all the numbering schemes, and if there's issues with them, it's going to fix them. The other thing you're going to notice is the document doesn't flicker, unlike some of the other tools you've seen in the past. And when this is done, it's going to leave me in the same place that I was when I ran it. It's not going to jump me all over the place into the document, because more than likely I'm running in a place where I saw that I had issues with the document. So you can see there's 602 items that it's reviewing and going through all these different things, looking at all the numbering schemes, looking to see if there's numbering schemes in the document it can use, or if there's ones that are available. And if not, it's going to build some on the fly so that, again, the lawyer can continue working with a healthy numbering scheme with this document. So we're just going to give this a second here as it flies through these different numberings, and then we're going to see the results of this of the numbering scheme here. And again, if I don't like the results of what happens after I run this, I can click undo. So there's no harm, no foul. If it runs and it does what I want, I'm happy and I can continue working on this document without waiting. If it does something that's unintended or it's not a result that I like, I can simply hit undo and I'm right back to where I was before. And I'm not losing any other work I might have done up to that point. Okay, so it's coming into the home stretch here. And as this finished, we're going to see some different results with our numbering scheme. So you remember I was right on this recital section here. So now if I look back at the recital section, you could see that it updated the numbering scheme there, which is great. So now I have a healthy scheme. It's properly numbered. Let me go back to my navigation pane, and I'm just going to collapse everything here. You can see now that that numbering scheme is included here in the list. That's a healthy scheme as well. And I can also see now I have Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, etc. If I go to my Article 4 section, the sections turn to 4.1 as well. So the numbering is all fixed in this document. Now, if I had to do this by hand, I'd probably have to go into my numbering scheme and apply it, or I might have to go into adjust list indents. And if you're not a word expert, you wouldn't be able to do it, or it's going to take you an awful long time to fix these. But with a single click of the button, I was able to fix the majority of these things, or all these numbering things, with one click. I'm going to show you another numbering example in a different document here. So this document has 2 numbering schemes in it. You can see there's an article scheme up here, and if I scroll down to the end of the document, I actually have a second scheme, a schedule scheme. But I'm also showing my left navigation pane. You can see that right now this document is all normal, right? So maybe even I ran a rebuild on this document. So I have the type numbering in here, but everything is normal. I also have my style pane open, and you can see that I have an article scheme in this document, and I have a schedule scheme. So they're already in this document. So DocXtools Companion is not going to build schemes for you on the fly just for the sake of it. If there's schemes in your document that are valid and match, and that's the key word there, match. We want to keep the document consistent. We don't want to apply a scheme that's going to drastically change the look and feel of the document. But if there's one in there that matches, we're going to apply that for you. So I'm going to run numbers on this document. Let's see what happens. So again, it's going to go through and do its analysis in those 6 different categories. So this document's a little bit shorter, so it's going to take, there's some less items it's looking up and addressing. But you'll see when it's done, if we look in the left navigation pane again, that those normals for the numbering schemes are going to have those different numbering schemes applied that we see in the styles pane. So as this finishes up here, let's take a look on the left side here where the styles are. So you can see now the article numbering has the article styles. If it's not a numbered paragraph, it's still going to be normal. And if I scroll down to the bottom of the document where we have the schedules applied. So you can see it didn't create anything that wasn't a non-firm style. It used something that was available to me. Now, again, if there wasn't something in there, it would have created it for me. So let's go back to the other document, the original one. Let me close this navigation pane and let me open up, I'll go to DocXtools here for a second just to give me my navigation pane here again. So same thing for this one. This one used schemes that were in the document as well. If there were schemes, if we used a scheme that didn't exist in the document, we add a little DC at the end of the list template name, and that way you can tell that it was created. So for example, I think this one here, if I scroll over, you can see it says upper letter outline underscore DC. That's DocXtools Companion. We created that list template on the fly because there was nothing that matched, but we wanted to give this document a healthy scheme so that the lawyer continue working. Now, if this makes it over to word processing eventually, like it probably will, you just swap that scheme back out for one of your firm schemes. But in a pinch, when the lawyer needs to get something done or file or send it off to a client, now they have a healthy scheme by just clicking a single button there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at then is cross-references. So we talked about how we can get broken cross-references or type cross-references in the document by copying and pasting or things of that nature. So in this section C here in recitals, we can see I see sections 2.1 and 2.2. We'll also notice if I scroll down a little more here into the document, let me go a little deeper. We have a section numbering scheme and section is part of the word, right? So typically if we created a cross-reference to those sections 2.1 and 2.2 at the top of the document that we saw here, they would get replaced with, it would say sections section 2.1 and section 2.2, but we don't want that. It looks nice like that. We want it to say sections 2.1 and 2.2. So DocXtools Companion is smart enough. It knows you want that to be like that. So when we run cross-references and fix these, it's going to drop the delimiter, and it's just still going to say sections 2.1 and 2.2, but they'll be automated. So let's go ahead and try that. We're going to go to the Litera tab again, and I'm going to run cross-references. So again, we're always going to see this dialogue and we're going to have some analysis to see what's going on in the document. I think I'm talking too much, Leslie, because it's already 9 minutes to 11 here. I have to pick this up. So here's one of the really cool features about references that I like. If it finds a cross-reference in your document that doesn't have a target that it matches, it gives you this option. Would you like to put a word comment in there so that I can come back and look at these later? So yes, I'd like to put a word comment in there. So I'm going to add word comment into my document so that I can quickly find the one in the document that doesn't have a match. So it finishes process. There's the comment. So let's click on that first. It's going to take me to that instance in the document, and it says section 644. So if I go back to view, back to the view tab here, there we go, and navigation pane, and I'm going to collapse these again here, collapse all. If I go down to section 6 here, I have a section 6.1, a 6.2, a 6, but there's no section 644. So maybe this was just a typo. So I think this should be see section 6 for. So I'm going to delete that and I'm going to rerun references again. What it'll do is it'll go back and it'll see now that there is a match. It'll fix that, but then it's also going to remove the comment that was introduced into the document. So it's going to go through and do its analysis again here. You can see that it put DC in the document, letting you know there was a DocXtools companion comment, but it cleans up its mess as well. So once it's in, once it's fixed, it'll remove that comment for you. So you can see that revision went away, and now this is a true cross-reference as well, which is nice. I'm going to quickly jump to the beginning of the document where I talked about sections before, and you can see here too, we left the word sections and we just put cross-references on the numbers. We automatically dropped the delimiter. Even though the numbering scheme includes the word section, we dropped it because we know you want to say sections 2.1 and 2.2. So it's smart. We take that into consideration. So since we're moving slowly here, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. So the last thing we're going to talk about real fast is tables of contents. So you can see this table of contents has some issues as well. Let's go to print layout so it's a little easier to see. You can see we're missing an article, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run table of contents from DocXtools Companion. So it's going to do analysis. If the table of contents, if there is a table of contents already in the document, it's just going to keep the table of contents in the same place that it is, and then it will just update it, and it's going to remember the levels you have now, because again, we want to be consistent at all times. It'll keep those levels, and it'll keep in the same location. So let's go ahead and see that. So you can see it quickly updated the table of contents. It kept just level 1 and it kept it in the same spot. But what happens if there was no table of contents in the document? Let me go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to run table of contents again. So now it's going to do some further analysis in the document to see, are there more levels that we should be adding to this table, to this document, that would make sense from a legal document point of view. It's also going to give me the option when it's done completing about where to put it. So see, it says there's 2 levels. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 levels here. Since there's no table of contents, I can get the option to where I want to put it. So let me just put it at the top. Again, we don't get those prompts if something exists because it wants to keep it consistent as to what we're used to seeing. So it's going to go ahead and run through all those items. And once this is done, you'll see that I have a nice 2-level table of contents in my document. Once this finishes up here. So if I scroll up, where did it put it? Did it put it underneath? There we go. And if I go ahead and click, say, on section 2.1 and jump to it in the document, so section 2.1, you can see that section 2.1 is actually a full paragraph, but again, we're smart enough where we know we only want to put that first sentence in the document. We don't want to put the entire paragraph like native Word potentially would have done. You might be wondering how we're doing that. You know, we're not using style separators or anything like that. We detect the run-in pattern, and then we add we use style separators to force this. We're not using style separators. I mean, we're using link styles. So we're not putting TC codes or things of that nature in there, so that we do a good job with that. All right, so speeding along here because we're quickly running out of time. The last thing I want to talk about is the conversion cleanup tools. So here's an example of a document that was from a scanner. So you can see I can click here and there's floating flex. This is header content that got put into the body of the document. As I scroll down a little farther, actually up here too, I can see, if you notice it, the assignment, the open parens is not bold, but the ending is. So there's inconsistencies there. If I scroll down farther, here's a numbering scheme, but this is actually the letter I instead of 1. So the scanner misinterpreted some of those things. So again, a lot of things to address, some more header content, you know, more flex in the document. So I'm going to go ahead and run conversion cleanup on this document. And again, single click, it's going to go through. We saw that list of all the things it's going to look for and address. it's going to fix as many of these things as possible. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but it's going to get you a lot closer than where you were before. And again, if you're not happy with the end results, we can undo it. But again, in a pinch, this is great for a lawyer. I actually did a webinar this almost a year ago in December of 2017, where I talked about just handling scanned documents. And this is an example where you can use this product and DocXtools together, because my recommendation is run the conversion cleanup first, and then if there's still some items that need to be addressed, then you can do rebuild scan documents using the rebuild feature of DocXtools, because then that's going to bring in your styles, and it's going to be addressed with your DMS and things like that. This is just working with the document on the screen. It's not going to attach your template or clean out unused styles or things of that nature. So using those together can be extremely powerful. So if I quickly scroll to the top of the document now, you can see we cleaned up some of those floating items. That floating header text is gone. The parentheses are consistent now. If I scroll down here, now it's a number 1 in this document. It doesn't create the numbering for me, it's typed, but we know how to do that then. I could just run numbers and that's going to fix that, okay? So very powerful tool there. And then finally, some of these additional cleanups. And I'm not going to run through all these for the sake of time because I'd like to try to get to at least a couple questions. But these are all just individual items you can run around consistencies. So it'll determine the predominant font type and make everything to match the normal style, or predominant font size. Same thing with spacing. If there's issues with spacing, it's going to make it consistent throughout the document. And then simple things for the swapping of straight and curly, removing highlighting, drawings, etc., etc. So, sorry, I apologize for running through that. I was too wordy in the beginning with my excitement of the product. So I think there were a few questions, if I'm not mistaken. So I just want to let you know that we're going to do something just about how we handle our clients after the fact in terms of things we provide and resources and things of that nature in our November webinar. And then again, those are some resources we have. So let me quickly look at a couple questions. If people can stick around for a second. Anything we don't answer, I promise I will follow up with you after the fact individually. So hang tight for 1 second. Okay, so there are a couple questions. So we'll talk about this. So yes, so somebody wants a copy of the PowerPoint. So what I'll do is we'll figure it out. I should have applied it to as a handout, but I didn't. But whoever asked that, I'll definitely get that to you. Let me see. Can we recommend a cross-references workflow to just type in the reference number and then run the CR tool, or should users still be using insert cross-reference? So I'm guessing what they mean by that for the insert cross-references is native word. The beauty of this is it doesn't really matter. I think it's whatever's best, whatever works for the client or the user. So they could definitely type in typed references and we'll find them. And if it matches the scheme of the document, we'll hook it up. If it doesn't match, you'll get the option to get that comment, and then you can work at it there. If you automatically insert native ones, we'll find those too. And then that's where too, if you have DocXtools, you can find those as well. What else we have here? I thought we saw one more I wanted to ask here. So what about style names? Can we customize that? So that might be if we create a list template for you. So you can't really customize that. It's just creating a name on the fly, but you could always modify it after the fact by going into adjust list indents. Does this require any configuration prior to installation or deployment? So no, it doesn't. The only really configuration is if you wanted to put the button on a custom place. Otherwise, you can just install it and go with it. And then the last question I'm going to answer was, does DocXtools Companion check our enterprise schemes for a similar scheme to apply rather than use the companion schemes? So if you do have DocXtools, there is a way where we can harvest your schemes. And if you have DocXtools on the same machine as DocXtools Companion, we can look at those schemes as well. So first, we're always going to look in the document, just like we saw in that document with the 2 schemes. We're always going to look in the document first and use it. If you're harvesting schemes in DocXtools, we can look there. And then finally, we're going to look at, we'll create one for you on the fly. So with that, we're going to stop because I'm already over. I apologize. For any questions that weren't answered, I will absolutely get back to you after the fact. Thank you for your time, and hopefully we will see you next month for our next webinar. Take care. Bye-bye.